Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Jess, and thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Batko of the Post-Gazette in just a matter of moments, and there he is right now, looking stylish as always, and we're going to be talking about your Steelers here tonight. Also, if you want to call in about the Penguins, they're 2-0, off to a hot start. Have Mike Sullivan and the Rangers coming in here tomorrow for a big game. 412-575-2600 is the number. Brian, we were both at Steelers today. I guess the good news is Jalen Ramsey was out there, full participant. He wasn't out there all week. I did see him on the fields out there on Wednesday, but they said he didn't practice, and he didn't practice yesterday, but a full participant today. Now, I'm under the impression he's not playing, but you guys talked to him, and he said he wanted to play, but it's obviously up to Mike Tomlin. I just think that the Steelers, how they handle soft tissue injuries, and they're going to be a little cautious, right? He has a hamstring injury, and you look at some of the other guys with hamstring injuries, and see what it takes a couple weeks. I think it's going to be a couple weeks here.
But it seems like all signs are pointing up for Ramsey.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because you'd want other guys to get ready, and if he's taking all the reps at practice, that's a good sign that he's playing, but it's a bad sign that whoever else would have been playing should be out there getting those reps. So what were your impressions from Ramsey? He didn't really give anything away other than saying that he wants to play.
Yeah, and it was kind of like pulling teeth a little bit just to try to get some insight on how much he did today. He said he did a little something, and that, you also do have to consider with these hamstring injuries, any soft tissue, even if it's a groin, whatever, he could wake up tomorrow and it could be tight. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're probably not risking that, especially with 2 games in 5 days and so much season ahead of you. So that's why I would hesitate to say he's definitely going to be in. But again, Mike Tomlin told us to watch his participation this week in practice, and to have 2 days in a row of nothing listed on the injury report and then all of a sudden upgraded to not just limited, which is what I was expecting to see, but full. That's a good sign. And again, Jalen Warren, I thought he was going to play week 4. He's out there on the field in Dublin pregame testing out the knee. Next thing you know, they decide to shelve him for 1 more week. But Ramsey is someone who, he's been there, done that. He's been around the league for a while. He knows his body. And I think in this case, maybe they, got out of that Vikings game in Dublin with a little less of an issue for Ramsey than we initially thought.
Yeah, I mean, as of the night before and the morning of, I was told that Jalen Warren was definitely playing in that game. Then all of a sudden he was inactive. So that was like a last-minute decision. So I guess it's a wait-and-see thing, and maybe we won't know until, 10:30 on Sunday. But on the other side of the ball, too, Calvin Austin, he didn't practice all week. We saw him around there. He's been in and out of the locker room, hasn't been out on the field. He was ruled out, so he's not playing. So what do the Steelers do here? Personally, I think it's going to be a wide receiver by committee approach.
I agree. I don't know that there's going to be someone who is just stepping up and taking all of Calvin Austin's snaps. I think you're going to see rotation of Scotty Miller, Roman Wilson, Ben Skoranek. I think they're going to elevate Keyshawn Williams from the practice squad. You might have remembered him from the preseason. He had a big touchdown catch against the Jaguars in the first one. He's an undrafted free agent from Indiana. He's also probably going to be the returner, I think, Rich, because, of course, we know Calvin Austin runs back punts during the season. So I think this is going to be a little trial run for this group of receivers to kind of show Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin what they can do and whether they need to go out and get another guy at the trade deadline.
Any shot Caleb Johnson gets another chance back there?
I don't think so. I don't think so yet. Mike Tomlin doesn't seem like he's in any hurry to give Johnson that job back. I think there's actually a better chance that he could get involved in the backfield. But as long as Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell are healthy, there aren't too many carries to go around there either.
All right, there's another big game this weekend in Florida, Tallahassee. Who will win that game? That's our Penn West University question of the night. Just scan that QR code in the corner of your screen. Looks like it's split right now. I mean, most people think number 25 Florida State's going to win that one, 54-46. I mean, I do think Pitt is playing a lot better and maybe got some confidence with the last game, and maybe this new quarterback, the rookie, the young guy, the freshman, is a better fit for this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I still talk to some people from Pitt from the days when I covered them before the Steelers, and I hear nothing but good things about Mason Heinschel, and it's really encouraging what he was able to do last week. I know it was just Boston College, but Rich, you know as well as me, we have seen Pitt lose confounding games to BC over the years when they have no business losing that. I think that was actually a good spot to start him because the Eli Holstein experience had kind of run its course, unfortunately. I mean, there was so much hype for him during that winning streak to start last year. And then I think even into this year, some people had some renewed hope, even after the way last season ended. But he just played so poorly against West Virginia, didn't get it done against Louisville either. It was time to make the switch. You got Heinschel in there against a team that isn't that great, but probably gave him some confidence right out of the chute. Now you have to go down to a tough place to play with the Seminole chop and all of that. That's a good defense. It might be tricky, but Heinschel is someone who seems like he's pretty adept at running Cade Bell's system.
All right, we'll talk more about the Panthers and the Steelers coming up next. Also, the Penguins. Give us a call. 412-575-2600 is the number. Back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. Kind of breaking news here from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. This is the club statement. Pittsburgh Riverhounds Soccer Club head coach Bob Lilly has been placed on administrative leave. Assistant coach Rob Vincent will serve as acting head coach effective immediately. The club will not have any further comment at this time. I know the Riverhounds have a big game tomorrow. They win, they're in the playoffs. They lose, they're out. So it's a big thing. I don't know too much about it. Maybe we'll find a little bit more about it tomorrow, Brian. But that's very interesting that you basically let your head coach go the night before a huge game.
Yeah, that is a major story here in the Pittsburgh soccer world. And I don't know, is Ted Lasso available to fill in here on short notice?
He could be coaching some women's football team somewhere, right? All right, so I want to get back to the Panthers real quick because this kind of situation reminds me a little bit of what happened to Kenny Pickett, right? And Max Brown, almost, the guy that came in from USC. He's highly regarded.
Don't forget Ben DiNucci. He was in the middle of that.
He was in the middle of that one too, right? So Heinschel could be the next Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Kenny was the last true freshman to start a game at quarterback for Pitt, even through some of the QB carousel stuff they had going on with Phil Jurkovec, Nate Yarnell, Joey Yellen, I think, got in there at one point, and there was the Keaton Slovis year as well. So, I mean, one thing that's, I don't want to say unfortunate because the Heinschel era, such as it is, might work out great. The Kenny Pickett era turned out great, but just when it seemed like things were settled with Eli Holstein, a guy with great pedigree, somebody who they invested in through NIL, then all of a sudden, the bottom falls out and you're kind of right back to square one, searching and hoping. And, as strong as Heinschel started out, we've seen Pat Narduzzi have, I would say, kind of an itchy trigger finger with quarterbacks in the past where if you start turning the ball over, you lose a game or two or you make some bad decisions. He doesn't hesitate to kind of go back to the musical chairs route. But with Heinschel being a true freshman, someone who I think Cade Bell, the offensive coordinator, and that staff believes in. They also kind of found him, dug him up when he was a very little-known recruit, relatively speaking, at a small school near Toledo. Maybe that's somebody that they can grow and build with. And, hey, physically, athletically, Alabama wanted Eli Holstein, and he started his career there. So maybe he's, a notch above Heinschel with all of those tangible things, but sometimes you can't measure the intangibles, and maybe that's what Mason Heinschel has going for him. And
do you measure NIL? Because NIL wasn't around back when we were doing this with Kenny Pickett and Max Brown and those guys, Ben DiNucci. Is there any pressure on the university or the football staff to play Holstein because you're paying the guy so much money to be around?
I don't know if I would say that, but I'm sure it made the decision harder for Pat Narduzzi, right? I mean, if they're having high-level conversations with him and his offensive play caller, who, I mean, it's kind of like the Steelers coaching structure. The offensive coordinator for those teams have a lot of autonomy because they're defensive-minded, defensive background head coaches. So you're really the head coach of the offense in your unit when you're in that seat, whether you're under Mike Tomlin or Pat Narduzzi. So I'm sure there was, a lot that had to be kind of parsed through with Narduzzi and Cade Bell, lots of angles to it. Who can help us win right now? Who do we have a lot invested in? Hey, is it really time to go to the freshman? There will be plenty of time for him, but I think they made the right call. It gives this season a little bit renewed sense of juice to it, at least for me.
No question about it. I mean, and now you think they have a legit shot at beating Florida State. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially if they play the way they played Boston College. And I understand it was Boston College and it's not Florida State. So it'll be a big test tomorrow at noon for Pitt. All right, let's head out to the phone lines. We got G-Man in Bethel Park. How you doing, G-Man?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey.
G-Man, big win for you last night against the Eagles.
Yeah.
I just want to talk quickly about the Pens. I mean, they're off to a 2-0 start, which is great, but I couldn't get through the other night when Pony was on there and saying they should tank the season and get McKenna with the first pick. Well, I looked it up. If you have the worst pick, if you have the worst record, you get a 25.5% chance of the first pick. Who in their right mind would want to tank the season for a 1-in-4 chance of getting the first pick? I didn't understand anything what he was talking about. Your thoughts? Thanks.
You know, I get where Pony's coming from. You want to do everything you can to get a generational player. I mean, people are saying he's the next greatest player since Connor McDavid, right? So you have a shot at getting him if you have the worst record. But like you said, it's a 25% shot now. The lottery's a little bit different. It's not like when you tanked to get Mario Lemieux and you were guaranteed to get him if you, have the worst record. It's different now. So I think if you're in the top 5, even the top 10, you have a shot at getting this guy. Just you got to get the ball to bounce the right way.
No one ever said my man Andrew Filippone's in his right mind, G-Man. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a legitimate debate here because he does seem to be the next one. But I don't necessarily know enough about hockey scouting to really have a informed opinion on, is there going to be another Gavin McKenna in the next few years, or is this really kind of the shot to get the next Sid, the next McDavid, whoever you want to chalk him up as? But yeah, I mean, at least this start for the Penguins is making it something worth talking about, right? I mean, you beat Mike Sullivan in the opener, then you win the home opener. Dan Muse must have done something right in the preseason and getting these guys ready to go for this year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. They have a tough one tomorrow against the Rangers again, and Mike Sullivan coming here. I'm sure it's going to be an emotional night for Sullivan. There's supposed to be some kind of tribute there.
Reasonable minds can always disagree on these discussions about kind of the best way to set up a franchise for future success. We have it all the time looking at the Steelers, who never go under 500, never really give themselves an opportunity to accumulate those big draft assets. And you don't want to be stuck in the middle, but I think also sometimes it can, sort of be bad for the culture of a team or a franchise when you're losing a lot.
Well, there's no question the Penguins are in rebuild mode, right? And you would hope that they're going to rebuild quicker than other leagues and other teams. But you got to get rid of some big-time contracts like Evgeny Malkin. This will probably be his last year in a Penguins uniform. You can't trade Chris Letang. You're handcuffed to him. So you got to hope some of these younger guys work out. You got to get good goaltending. And I was, scratching my head a little bit that they started Tristan Jarry yesterday instead of riding the hot hand. But we'll see what happens tomorrow if Jarry gets to start again or if they go with the young guy. But it'll be interesting. So let's go back out to the phone lines. We got Bruce out in Brooklyn. How you doing, Bruce?
Hey, Rich. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. So the thing about this, the Penguins getting McKenna is, Dan Muse, I trusted those a million games with this guy. I don't know nothing about him, where he came from. I wouldn't let him around none of my stepkids, even.
Dan Muse is coming in here and bringing in a different system. And maybe if they would have played like this a couple years ago, they might have made the playoffs. You got to win games. You got to hope that guys like Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and guys like Brian Rust can score, but you got to hope that you have good goaltending too and you can win low-scoring, close games. That's kind of how they did it in the Kevin Constantine years. So I think you got to kind of go back to that until you can find how you want to play and you get the right players in here.
Yeah, I mean, the people pounding the table for tank for McKenna or whatever, I get it. Like you said, Rich, you don't want to missed the forest for the trees here with a couple wins to start an 82-game season. And this guy really might be a sure thing, a slam dunk. But then again, that's easy to say now before he's ever played a minute in the NHL.
Hey, remember how excited we were a couple years ago when the Pirates got off to that awesome start in April, and then look what happened?
You had Batko fever.
I did have Batko fever. We remember that. I didn't have it this year at all. I mean, because they got off to an awful start. There's never a chance. Maybe next year. We'll see. It's going to be tough, though, bringing Ben Cherington back. It's going to be hard to have Batko fever. We'll see what they do in the offseason. All right, now let's talk about the Steelers. Back to the Steelers. We got about a minute here before we go to break. But, we talked about the second receiver. Do you expect Jaylen Warren to be the main guy like before his injury, or do you think they're going to split? It's going to be closer to 50-50 with him and Kenny Gainwell.
I still think he'll be the main guy, but I think with what Gainwell did at Croke Park, he earned a little bit bigger piece of the pie there, especially with what he can do through the air as well, and he ran hard.
All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. All right, welcome back to Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We'll do our Steelers predictions tomorrow. Brian and I are back on the show, but tomorrow there's a bunch of college games, and Pitt, Florida State. You got Penn State, Northwestern. Florida State's a 10-point favorite in that game. I know Penn State's a big favorite against Northwestern. Who do you like in both games?
I'm certainly going to take Penn State. I know they're down bad right now after losing to UCLA, but I think they'll bounce back. Too much talent not to. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and pick Pitt down in Tallahassee. I think Pat Narduzzi will have a good defensive plan for Thomas Castellanos. He's very mobile quarterback for Florida State, but he's a smaller guy. I think they'll heat him up a little bit and make life tough on him. And another good game for Mason Heinschel. Miami just shredded him, but that's with Carson Beck. The other big game tomorrow, Rich, Oregon versus Indiana. The winner, their quarterback, will be drafted by the Steelers. You heard it here first.
Hey, that's not a bad pick there. I thought you were going to call me a homer because I was going to pick Pitt tomorrow to win that game as a 10-point underdog. I think Pitt will win. I think Penn State will bounce back. They overlooked UCLA. It's a shame because it kind of ruined their season.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. I mean, when you drop a couple early in college football, it's sort of tough to keep the interest. But Pitt's got a little bit renewed sense of vigor now with the true freshman quarterback. I don't know what Penn State can find, but I guess they can at least start with a win against the Wildcats.
No doubt about it. All right, see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Brian, thanks a lot. Thank you for watching. Hopefully see you on KDKA News right now.